everyone. Welcome to this episode of Ecoffee with Experts. I am your host, Matt Fraser. And on today's show, I have with me Dennis Ventura. Now, Dennis is going to be talking to us today about how digital marketing can harness the power of data science and machine learning. Dennis is the founder and managing director of Local Interactive, a full-service digital marketing, web development, and SEO agency headquartered in New York City. He has an impressive 25 plus years of sales, digital marketing, and SEO expertise. He holds a Bachelor's of Science, Business Administration from Fordham University in New York, and he is currently researching how digital marketing can harness the power of data science and machine learning, as I said earlier. Dennis, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to have you here on the show.
Awesome to be here, Matt. Really looking forward to it.
Right on. So off camera, we were talking a little bit about AI and things like that, and all these things just to get acquainted. But, how do you think digital marketing can harness the power of data science and machine learning?
Right. So we're at a point right now, which, I mean, we've been here so many times. If you kind of look at history, it's just an iteration of technology, right?
Yeah.
And right now we're at the point where the internet is going to be iterated into its third form. And really, machine learning has been at the forefront from the beginning, because an algorithm, like when Google made the algorithm, Facebook's algorithm, they're all some form of machine learning.
Yeah.
So it's not like a new concept. It's just that now we have the computing potential, both on a enterprise level and on a business to business, small business, and individual level, to be able to use machines to help us process data at an enormous rate.
Yeah.
And with that comes so many advantages, many advantages. Yeah.
So what do you think one of those ways that I think about, and I've had my own experience, and for some reason it's a controversial issue, as you and I were talking about. People used to think the internet was going to be a fad and laughed when they said that it was going to replace the yellow pages. And now, look where we are today, but in regards to content creation, artificial intelligence with platforms, there's various platforms out there. I won't name drop them, but people can find them on their own that can really assist you in writing content. So that's one of the ways that I see machine learning and that becoming a advantage. And what do you think about that? Like, are you yay or nay for using the content creation tools such as, frankly, Jasper.ai or Copy.ai or the various ones out there?
Right. Well, I could tell you that there's definitely, and I work with clients everywhere from, small to medium-sized businesses to enterprise level companies, billion-dollar valuations, and everyone is using some form of content-based AI, whether to write it. There's already iterations of AI being able to do voiceover. So there's voiceover-based AI where you're able to kind of, instead of hiring a voiceover person, you could actually have an AI take a transcript and it would sound just like, you could pick like an English, like a British accent, an English accent. Wow. And it's really kind of gotten to that point where we're so early. And like I told you off camera, like we're at the point right now with AI where if you compare it to the internet, it's kind of like when we were still using dial-up 56K modems. Yeah. That's really where we're at. Yeah. And it's we're at this, people are using GTP3, right? That's the main transformer learning, machine learning kind of platform. And GTP4 is about to land out, which they're saying is going to be 500x as powerful than GTP3. So it's
unreal.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. OpenAI was developed by Elon Musk in conjunction with other people, but it's just amazing what that guy is doing to our world. Like,
right.
And the fact that you talk about, I was just thinking about from a content perspective, about writing articles and making content. But wasn't the movie where what's her name, Carrie Fisher, died, and they not only did they recreate her with CGI,
Right.
But I think her voice was done with AI.
Yeah. Yeah. So like I said, I mean, it's already been with us for a while.
Wow.
And I think also people need to kind of understand that content is not just written content, right?
Yeah.
Images are content,
Yeah.
video is content. Voice, podcast, audio is content. So content is really what convinces. And this is like a thought that I kind of thought of at one point, was like, okay, it doesn't matter the format, but basically content is what convinces algorithms, or the internet, if you want to use that term, to kind of position you or elevate you. So if you look at whoever is like a top YouTuber, if you look at whoever is a top TikToker right now, they've published an X amount of content. Absolutely. And that's the reason why they're basically in the top rankings, right? When it comes to something like SEO, definitely, obviously, Google lets us know there's about 200 ranking factors, right? Content is one of those. So that's the thing I think people have a problem with, that maybe people are kind of like bypassing the hard work of, writing the content, and maybe they feel like it's a way of cheating.
That's what I think people think.
Yeah, I mean, but it's really just a natural progression of where we're at. It's kind of like saying, okay, instead of having a car, you should why not have a horse? You know what I mean? I love my horse. I feed him. He's a great horse. I jump on him whenever I want and I go. But no, we have cars that, and planes and so,
trains.
So it's just a natural progression, really. And I think the people that kind of look a little bit down on, the AI the way it is right now. Yes, it's like I said, we're at the beginning, so it's not like it's meant to replace anyone. You still need someone in front of it. That's the thing that a lot of people think, that it's just like, okay, I press a button and I don't have to do anything. No, you do need to have, you need to have somebody behind it. And obviously they need to be trained on how to use it. But really what it's going to do, it's going to obviously exponentially grow how content is distributed, how much, and the people that are using it are going to get a competitive advantage.
I totally agree with you. Yeah. Absolutely. And I think it's like this, you can write really bad human written content, human generated content, and you can write really bad human generated content. You can do both. And you can do both with AI. You can write really bad. And if you just take what it gives you and spit it out and don't edit it and don't review it and don't try and generate another instance of what you're trying to do, or you know what I mean? And I've been doing this because I've been using it for 6 months now. And I've shown some people some of the things I've generated, and they're like, I could literally put an article in front of them. And in fact, I did this. I rewrote an article that a human wrote, and I wrote it with AI, and you can't tell which one was written by a human. Nobody can tell.
Yeah, so, and I can tell you, like myself, I'm not a writer. I'm a marketer. So for me, writing is not one of those things that kind of comes natural. But even using an AI tool, for me, it still probably takes me like about an hour to actually pump out something that piece. I mean, because you definitely want to, the AI is there to kind of help you kind of when you get that block, writer's block, kind of, right?
Absolutely.
It's kind of eliminating that. And that's the part that's kind of like helping you kind of scale, right? So I think if people look at it from that point of view, and not just by like at the beginning of the internet, where it's like, oh, just push this button and you're going to make $1,000. Push button marketing, right? Like, I'm going to be rich by just buying this one shiny object. It's not that. It's not that. It's just another tool that marketers and businesses are going to be able to have, that is really kind of just like the internet, right? Like the internet has broken the barriers to start a business, right? Before you would need to, I mean, think about everything that you would need to do to start a business.
Oh,
like
it's incredible.
30 years ago, right? You would need to have financing to buy a location and scout out the location in a mall or on an avenue. With the internet right now, it's literally you could register a domain, publish a website,
with
and boom,
WordPress or Joomla or whatever.
Yeah, you have a business. Now the challenge is traffic, right?
Yeah.
So,
wow.
Yeah. So it's just another
amazing.
tool like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's incredible. You're talking about like creating content and then voices. I mean, for voices, for getting like narration done, like, I don't know if voiceover actors should be and voiceover people. I mean, maybe they can lend their voice to be licensed for AI usage. I don't know how they're going to make money. Cause I don't know. Do you think it's going to put people out of work eventually?
I mean, I think it will put some people that are not going to embrace it. Like anything else, it is going to kind of leave people behind that don't kind of adapt to it. But I think I mean, the way, from what I understand in terms of voice, you do have a real voice actor that kind of speaks to the, AI and trains it with its voice. And then that's how it's able to then generate additional voice kind of based on.
So it doesn't create a voice from nothing. It has to use, like, it could use, if someone wants someone to sound like me, then they would use my voice to train it.
You would have to train it. Yeah.
I would have to train it with my voice, and perhaps I could even license my voice to other people to use, like trademark my voice.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. And then also video. I think that's also becoming. Yeah. So it's kind of like you're getting all these tools that are really going to help you and anybody, really, kind of the same way you would just be able to build a business, to be able to publish content. And obviously there's going to be good and there's going to be bad parts of that. Yeah. And it's like anything else, the people that take the time to use the tools and produce quality stuff are probably going to win.
And the people that are already good content writers, it's just going to enable them to push out even more content even faster.
Right. I mean, I could tell you that I have a staff of content writers on staff, and one content writer would probably, where they could probably write, an article a day. And they are good content writers. They know how to write content. Right. Yeah. So they're able to do 3 to 5x the amount of content.
Wow.
And still have it be quality, because you still have to you still need to put it through, say something outline, like Grammarly, and make sure that it's not plagiarized, all of those things. Copyscape, you still need to do all of that. I think that's where people are like, okay, people are just pressing a button and just automating it to go to a website. Yeah. I mean, and I've seen those sites. A lot of them are Amazon affiliate sites, and I've seen them go from millions of searches, and then all of a sudden rank and tank kind of stuff,
Yeah. Well, because Google knows what they're doing. And if it's quality score crap content, just take a little more time to put some good content together.
Right. And I think also there's always, I have a client right now, they're in the healthcare niche, and they have a lot of content on their website, but it hasn't been optimized for any specific keywords or anything that is relevant. It's just kind of like telling and not selling, right? It's just information for information's sake. Yeah. So with the tools that we use, we're able to kind of figure out, okay, this is what the algorithm really needs to see, and is able to get them to really start ranking faster. So
you can plead the fifth if you want, but are you willing to share any of the names of those tools, or is that part of your secret sauce?
I mean, I think everybody knows the tools that are out there. I mean, right? I think you said the first one, Jasper. That's
Jasper,
I think
or Surfer. Are you referring to Surfer then? Like Surfer
is obviously, I think, in everybody's toolbox. Either that or Quora. Quora, I think, is
next level.
If you really are in very, very competitive markets, say in CBD or casino stuff or anything that's super hyper competitive, then at that point you're probably using Quora. Yeah. But if you're in e-commerce based businesses, Surfer is probably going to be one of the tools that you use. Yeah. Obviously, you need a very good keyword research tool. because Google obviously is stripping. Now they're going from analytics to now GA4, where they're going to strip more of the information that would help you. So, and they're claiming for it to be more. I mean, but that's what they've always been.
I don't buy that. I figured Google out. I do not buy the fact that they're saying they're doing something under the guise of privacy for profit, because they don't want marketers to know what to do. And therefore people have to spend more money on Google ads. But then if you don't know what keywords to target, how you spend money on Google ads if you don't know what keywords to target, if you don't know what search volume is for those keywords to know how to. So how do you think, oh goodness then. So we have these tools that help us. And for those of you who don't know what Quora is, it's a SEO software tool by Ted Kubitis, who I personally know and worked for a brief period of time.
Yeah, Ted's awesome.
Ted's an amazing guy.
Yeah.
He thinks about SEO on a level that's the matrix as far as I'm concerned. So anyway, that being said though, what do you so everybody kind of has there's so many questions going through my mind, like the competitive advantage if everybody has the same tools. It's like,
well, it's an arms race. It's an arms race at that
there
point.
You go.
You know, it's
it is an arms race, isn't it?
It is. It's
because you got your weapons of content. Your
right. Yeah. I mean, and right now, obviously, there are some markets that whoever has the most money wins. You know what I mean? There are markets where, you know, if clients don't have a certain budget, they're not even on the paid traffic side. That's the reason why a lot of people tend to go to social. But then, you know, obviously with Facebook updating and Apple, and that's the reason why TikTok is growing so fast, because their algorithm is brand new. Whereas like every single algorithm before like TikTok's has been like based on who you follow, right? Based on that. Whereas TikTok is really honed in on what exact content you're interested in. So it just constantly feeds you. Plus it's shorter content. Yeah. And I mean, all these tools are helping people create content at a very fast level. And is the reason why TikTok is growing so fast, because it gets to learn what you like fast. Yeah.
I have not been on TikTok. I don't know. I guess probably say there's so many things to do. Like I know one person who started making $1 million a month from teaching about Excel spreadsheets.
Yeah.
Through TikTok.
Absolutely.
$1 million a month.
They're basically taking the model that worked on YouTube and now probably just doing it on TikTok.
In shorter.
Yeah. In shorter versions. Yeah.
So that's like, how do you I'm trying to think of other ways that you maybe know that I don't, because I'm not in the game a lot anymore because I'm doing this sort of stuff, which I love doing.
Right.
I have my own side projects, but like, what do you think about like, how will data science help to get better SEO rankings? Like, do you think that what Quora does will eventually be automated by AI?
Well, number one, it's going to help you be able to do like predictive analysis, right? Which is what clients always want to know. Like, how long is it going to take for me to get traffic? How long is it going to take for me to convert? So like right now, I would say, you know, and a lot of people in the industry don't tell clients this, but anybody that starts a business, they need to expect, you know, at least a year of publishing content or having their website kind of indexed and kind of letting Google know that they're an expert and an authority in whatever they're doing, right? It takes like about a year to kind of do that. Then the second and third year, that's when you start seeing that kind of like hockey stick growth if you're doing the right stuff. So, you know, what it's going to do for SEO, it's going to be able to hopefully kind of get rid of like, you know, the people that sell people on these guaranteed results, rankings, you know, kind of like in 30 days,
I mean, 60 days, 90 days on page one.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, and honestly, I have a lot of those companies call me and try to like say, hey, we'll manage your clients. And I've actually asked them, okay, so how are you able to guarantee results? A lot of them do say like, okay, obviously they're words that are vanity words that have like no traffic, if any.
Oh gosh,
So
absolutely. Oh gosh.
Yeah, and the client will be like, okay, we're on page one,
but there's no commercial intent.
There's no commercial intent, and they've satisfied their contract. They've they've guaranteed that they've gotten them on the first page for a word. So, but getting them on first page for a word and a word that actually generates sales is totally different.
It's totally different.
Like having somebody who knows how to talk to a client is different from somebody who knows how to learn from a client and then give them a solution. That's totally different too, right?
Totally different. So do you think that, like, you talked about how it will help us to, you know, you think that it will be able to, like, you know, how you have a data dashboard and you can feed all your data into like dataanalytics.com or whatever, or let's just take Google Data Studio. You can pull and supermetrics.com. You can grab all that data in your Google Analytics or Matomo or Paywick or whatever you're using, and you can pull it into a central place. But the hardest part, Dennis, about that is interpreting the data of what to do next.
Yeah,
For instance, I think, you know, there's tools out there that are like a Google Ads coach. Can't remember the name of it right now. Optio. And it uses AI to a certain degree, machine learning, to tell you what to do next in your Google Ads campaign. And quite frankly, I find it very helpful. I mean, somebody may look down on me and say, well, you don't really know what you're doing with Google Ads because you're not doing it manually, but it's like a coach. It just tells me what to do. And I'm pretty sure it could save someone from making $100,000 mistake who's managing $1 million spend ad spend. So, so my question is, do you think that it's going to like help with those things, like to be able to interpret the data? Or have you seen that already? Or are there any other use cases that you've seen AI machine learning be able to do that in the data science sort of things I haven't mentioned yet?
Yeah, I mean, for example, we do employ data scientists. So, which is number one, not easy because they're very, very analytical, right? So they're not, you got to be able to understand how to like translate the information that they're going to give you. So I think what AI is going to be able to do is, like you said, give you recommendations and be able to kind of narrate scenarios, like potential outcomes, like predictive results. Yeah, predictive results. So that's really what I think is going to happen. And it's going to help, number one, agencies, business owners be able to have a lot more confidence in launching campaigns. And making decisions in terms of like when a campaign is working and when a campaign is not working. Because a lot of times it's very much, it's especially with SEO, you're kind of lagging, even with paid, because with paid traffic, you're always setting up, you know, the campaign and then waiting to see, you know, what negative keywords you need to kind of isolate. So with machine learning, it's going to kind of give you a lot of that information for you, and you're still going to need someone with the skills to be able to make decisions, I think.
That's amazing. So you employ data scientists in your agency? Yeah,
we actually have a couple of scientists from like Columbia, NYU.
Wow.
So yeah.
That's amazing. So what is your process then for incorporating data science into your SEO?
So what we try to do is we try to pull data from all the tools. And then we have like an internal kind of way to grade them. And then from that, be able to kind of have, like I just said, like a couple of scenarios that we're able to look at and say, all right, this would be like a scenario that we think would be much more profitable and will be able to help clients get results faster. So
is there a general example you can share without going into client details or
I mean, I guess like my company's name is called Local Interactive, right? So I started working with local businesses. A lot of that was because after college, I worked at a lot of boutique agencies. I think the last agency that I worked for was Reach Local. They were, so, and they went public also. And so at that point, like working with local businesses was, since I come from a family that has local businesses, I said, you know, I want to empower local businesses. So today, really, e-commerce is kind of what, you know, the mainstay of a lot of the internet kind of marketing is all about.
So whereas before it was local was the wave, e-commerce is the wave now.
E-commerce is definitely the wave right now. So, and then a lot of local businesses, if they do decide to like optimize themselves, they do need to also consider like the Yelps, the Angies, like all of these directories that have already, I mean, they could just rank for anything, anywhere, right? So you do need to have a presence on there. So I guess to give you an example, I mean, it would be like maybe Shopify is a great platform that allows you to do a lot with it. Because they're Liquid, the way they're programmed in Liquid, using Liquid, which is the programming language, allows for you to be able to kind of extract the data and kind of model it in a way that's pretty cool. So we've been able
to get predictive sales,
kind of have an idea of what, the projections are going to be. So be able to do like regression analysis based on competitors. They do have, apps and websites that kind of tell you what your competitors are selling, what's their best sellers. So it's similar to what Amazon does when like they see, I mean, somebody in their market space. And I've had so many clients come from Amazon where they've been a leader in their space, and then Amazon obviously knows what their sales and who's buying from them, and then just makes it an Amazon choice product, right? And then at that point, sellers kind of get a little bit kind of pushed off, and then that's when they tend to go to like a Shopify and try to be on Walmart and Target and stuff like that. So, but Shopify definitely has a lot of good ways to plug into the data and be able to like model it.
That's amazing. Do you think AI will be involved somehow in web design, or is it already?
I mean, I think there is. I think there's something called Webflow that kind of supposedly you give it your niche and it kind of builds a website for you. I think they already have something like that. So
wow, it's incredible. It's incredible what's going to happen with all these things. I'm blown away.
I think also like, I think people need to kind of just, if they're not going to embrace it, then that's fine. Cause then, I mean, like I said, we've all been here before with like the yellow pages and people that were like thinking the internet was just a fad. So I think
AI is just a fad, or machine learning. It's both the same thing, isn't it? AI.
Right. Well, machine learning is just like basically being able to learn from, it just gets smarter and smarter the more data you feed it. So obviously we're in a data-based world where everything is now, every single step. I mean, wherever you go, you're getting, I think I drove somewhere and then Google said, oh, this was the day that you drove the most. And I was just like, wow. And can you rate all these places that you pass? And I was like, wow, I didn't even, they know everything. So
they do, don't they?
Yeah. So I think if you don't embrace it, then you're kind of putting yourself in a disadvantage. And there's definitely going to be like everything else. There's going to be people that use it for good and people that use it for kind of just shortcuts. And it's like anything else. They're probably going to have some short-lived success, but the people that really try to learn how to use it the correct way, and obviously it's going to iterate like everything else, they're definitely going to have a competitive advantage.
That's amazing. And the other people are just going to go the way of the dodo and the dinosaur.
I mean, it's going to be just like for example, I will not work with, like, I remember when I first started, I mean, locksmith was a big industry in Manhattan, and now you cannot get into, I mean, the locksmith, trying to rank for locksmith in Manhattan is just, unless you have a pretty big budget, it's kind of like, you're not going to do it. But it's just understanding that it is technology, and you're either going to use it or just watch what it does. Basically.
And maybe go out of business. So where do you think marketers can learn more about this, how to embrace AI and machine learning and data science? Like, should we be taking courses from somewhere or hiring data scientists if we have the budget, or like you've done, or what would you?
I mean, obviously, OpenAI is a great place to start because they have 4 different kind of AI kind of pre-programmed sources that you could work with and then learn. Obviously, depending on how deep you want to get into the technical side, I mean, that's going to be up to the individual. But there's definitely people that are building tools for, that have the interface to be able to work with them. I would say it's definitely worth just trying out because, I mean, like I said, everybody's using it. And I think anybody that says that they're not is kind of like just maybe for some reason or another saying they're not, but, or maybe they're not, you know what I mean? So,
I know some people who refuse to use it.
Right.
They're thinking it's just a fad. And they thought the Yellow Pages was, remember, people thought the Yellow Pages was just a fad. So, or the internet was just a fad to replace.
It's like when you had Google and then Facebook came out and everybody was like, like Facebook is just really for college kids. And now it's, you can have a store on Facebook, right? I mean, it's like everything else. So you just have to be able to look at it and see how it applies to your business. And if you could use it, then, it's better to learn it now than when it gets like to a point where it's super complicated and you really can't get a grasp of it. So, I think right now it's still in the early stages. So I think it behooves everybody to just take a look at it and see, if it's something that they could use or not.
Yeah. No, it's it's amazing. It's kind of exciting to think about. And here's a question. What do you think are some of the things people misunderstand about data science and SEO?
I mean, I think they feel like it's a shortcut and that they're cheating with it. Whereas it's another tool that you could use to help you make decisions, right? Whoever is not using data to make data-based decisions, they're really just guessing. I mean, it's kind of like that old adage, like 50% of my marketing and advertising is working. I just don't know which one it is.
It's 50%. Yeah.
Right. So like with these tools, you're able to have a certain kind of statistical level of confidence, in understanding, okay, the data is letting me know that this is working and the data is letting me know that this is not working. So I think people think it's a shortcut, but if you use it for helping to make decisions based on the data, it's really going to give you an advantage.
Yeah. David, Dennis, sorry. Darn it. My apologies.
It's cool.
Dennis, one of the mistakes I see marketers make, a lot of marketers, frankly, and I don't mean to like sound high-minded or whatever, but not using UTM parameters properly for attribution. Do you think that, I think that the human element of being able to come up with a campaign name and, using UTM medium and UTM, do you think that AI will replace all that, where it will be able to know where you won't have to do that stuff anymore? It'll just know where where all those things are coming. Like maybe there's a certain minimal element, but that it will know based on IP addresses and all the stuff that it can know, that we won't have to worry about that so much for attribution.
Well, I think it's going to help a lot more people be able to know that information, because I can tell you that when I have clients come in, they don't have none of that stuff set up. And they've gone through like so many agencies or consultants. And so I would say like saying 50% of campaigns out there do not have, proper UTM set up. And if AI is going to help them kind of be able to get that implemented, that's another advantage right there that it could help. So.
Yeah. And right now I'm also thinking about marketing automation, like setting up, tagging systems for marketing automation, whether you're using Marketo or however they call it, or Keep, aka Infusionsoft, or MailChimp, or even my favorite, Groundhog. which is a WordPress marketing automation plugin. Yeah, in that regard, being able to move people in and out of campaigns and funnels and know where they're at. And
or even like chatbots, right? Like, I mean, like chatbots right now, I think everybody, whether they know it or not, a lot of the chats that they're doing, they're all pre-programmed to get it to a point where they kind of become a warm lead, right?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I mean, machines are not going to replace people, I think, because at the end of the day, people buy from people, you know, so even if you're buying from a company, you're buying from that company because of its branding and kind of the way it makes you feel, but there's something behind it. There's a personality, right?
Yeah. So there's a person behind creating that personality.
Yeah. So there's a personality to it. So, with chatbots, I think it's just helping companies kind of put people through the funnel a little bit more efficiently, and also obviously a little bit more profitable, because then at that point they don't need to hire somebody that is just going to be doing mundane stuff, and then really get to where they get a pre-qualified lead that is very profitable. So, and
it'll be able to probably tell the difference between when you could use the tool eventually to differentiate between a marketing qualified lead and a sales qualified lead,
right?
To be able to get more qualified people in front of your salespeople.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Because there's no point in having someone sit at their bloody desk doing a chat when you could have artificial intelligence doing it for you and answering all the questions from.
There's a couple of tools out there that just, depending on how people answer, it'll either, at the end of the day, it's either like trying to set them up with setting them a follow-up email or an appointment. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
you mean things like ManyChat?
Like ManyChat, that's one of them. Yeah, that's one of them. Yep.
Wow. So there's different facets of machine learning that we've covered: for creating content, for creating voiceovers, for creating video, for analyzing data from SEO campaigns, using chatbots that are going to be able to automate conversations and save companies money, and also move people further along the customer journey to become a better qualified lead.
Right.
And
I mean, I think if there's I always have clients ask me okay, so what do you think is the best campaign that I could start? And I just go okay, if you really want to know the best campaign, obviously it all starts at content. So if say you wanted to start with video content, for example, video content has the most value, I think.
Yeah.
Because with video content, you're able to, number one, take that video content. You're able to use the second largest search engine in the world, which is YouTube. Right? Build a presence on there. Obviously, you're able to put it on your website. It then becomes much more engaging. People are definitely going to watch a video before they read something, but then you're able to transcribe that video. So that then becomes content that is able to feed Google's algorithm currently for rankings. Wow. You're then able to take kind of clips of the video, put it on social media, right?
Hub and spoke deal.
Yeah, hub and spoke. And then all from that production of that one video could basically generate both paid social media and SEO content. So, I think that if there's one strategy that I would tell anyone out there, I would say, if you can, and obviously it's labor intensive and it does take some time, but you're going to get the most value out of video content.
Yeah.
Because there's
so many ways there's so many ways I can think of that. I'll talk to you about it off camera.
And that's where those AI tools, right? Because when you transcribe it, that's an AI that's transcribing that, right? You're not going and stopping the video and writing.
Oh, that's so bloody laborious.
Yeah, so you use something like Temi or something like that you could just upload the video for 25 cents a minute, and they'll just transcribe it. And there you have kind of you could then take that, maybe throw it into something like Jarvis, run it so it could kind of clean it up, throw it through something like Grammarly, make sure that it's kind of Grammarly correct, copyscape it, right? I mean, you're still doing a lot of work. It's not,
yeah.
I mean, you're talking about,
yeah,
you have to do a lot of work to get that done, and then post it, and then have something maybe like Hootsuite or Buffer that kind of takes it and distributes it. So it's not a push button, magic thing. It's definitely a tool like anything else that you need to learn how to use.
Yeah. And even forgive my ignorance, but is Grammarly using machine learning? It must
absolutely
be.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think
so
it's going to be the internet.
There's so many things that are being used already that people don't look at it because it's not being marketed as AI, but it is already kind of AI based.
Yeah. One thing I think about is like, you mentioned creating video, but so many businesses don't know who their customers are. And there's been businesses that have been in business for 10 years. And I worked for a car dealership. The OEM didn't even have a customer persona on a vehicle by vehicle basis for what they were selling of who our target market, because I was trying to use it for targeting on Facebook.
Right.
I had to figure it out myself. And so do you think that this is probably possible? I just don't know how to do it. Like, can you extract that data? Like, let's just say a specific vehicle, like a Honda Civic, not the company I worked for. And they could pull all the data out of who bought a Honda Civic and use AI and machine learning to build the persona of who that person is on a male and female basis.
Yeah, like
that's probably possible.
Yeah, trying to make like an avatar of
an avatar, right? Persona, avatar,
yeah, persona, yeah. So yeah, probably.
That's possible right now, isn't it?
Yeah, I would say it's definitely probable right now. If not, it's going to be possible with GTP4, definitely. Yeah.
Wow.
So, like I said before, I mean, there is right now, I think it was like a month ago, where someone in Sweden took GTP3 and had it write a paper for a scholar journal, and they're basically reviewing it right now to see if it's acceptable to be submitted. So, if it's able to write on an academic level at the iteration that we're at, I mean, the future is just, limitless, really.
That's unbelievable. An academic paper. Like, well, do you think people who use AI should have to disclose that they're using it? Like, you know how there's a books like written by Sam Smith with Susie Smith, and underneath it says, by this person, the person's, that the ghostwriter really wrote it.
Well, that's exactly what I was just thinking about. I was just thinking about that. Like, okay, so what's the difference between the AI and people that have a ghostwriter?
Yeah.
Right. Because I mean, people have been having ghostwriters for centuries,
and they don't even divulge that they have the ghostwriter.
Right. So, and they just pump out books, and it's part of their whole branding and marketing strategy.
Yeah. And they've built up their own personality and their own customer base and their own community, if you will. So yeah, I think people need to get over the stigma.
Like I said, I think there's definitely going to be people that use it to kind of take shortcuts. Yeah. And I mean, that's just the nature of anything in life, right? I mean, people on Wall Street take shortcuts, right? Obviously, we've all known, things like that and in technology. Yeah. So, I mean, I think that is just human nature. It's kind of like a human law that people are going to do that. But it also is going to propel us to a level where we're going to be able to, have a competitive advantage in terms of marketing and advertising. So,
do you think it's going to level the playing field as well? For instance, people from non-English speaking companies can now compete by building websites that can create English-based content instead of writing crappy, like Grammarly. Someone from India could write an article and get Grammarly to fix it, and you would notice that it was written by someone whose second language is English rather than their first language.
Right. I mean, I think that's where kind of you do still need to have somebody kind of look at it.
Okay. Yeah. You're right.
I don't think it's we're at that point yet. Will it maybe eventually get to that point?
Yeah.
Possibly.
Because you still have to have the understanding of what is proper English and what isn't, I guess, to know.
Like there's a difference between like somebody in the US, right? Like, I mean, somebody in New York, somebody in the UK, right? It's different dialects, right? So, there is somebody that needs to be there to be able to understand, like like we just talked about, who they're trying to portray, who they're trying to reach. So
absolutely.
I think that's where it's not going to be a total kind of push button. You do need to have somebody behind it that has some sort of skill to be able to manage it.
Right on. What's one big takeaway you want listeners to get from this episode?
I mean, I think the main thing is just, we're living at a time where, so much is available in terms of information, and I really feel we're living in a time where anything is possible if you really kind of put your mind to it, right? So even coming out of the pandemic, I mean, I think there was a lot of businesses where they were kind of on the fence with the internet, and it basically forced them to use the internet to kind of for commerce. And it really kind of
2 years.
It kind of like exponentially grew the internet by 2 to 5 years, they say, right? So I think that's how people should look at machine learning, where it's going to help us kind of get to the next level, which is naturally where we're going to be, the same way we're going toward like electric cars, right? I mean, that's
self-driving cars.
Self-driving cars. I mean, we're not there yet, right? I think it's been like 4 iterations of the Tesla to where now kind of you still need somebody behind it. But I think the main takeaway is that, if you're going to be trying to compete on the internet in terms of commerce, either, selling goods or services, you need to try to use all the tools available, and not looking at machine learning, which is already part of the internet, is just really kind of like it's kind of like short-sighted, really. So
you're doing yourself a disservice.
So
right on. Hey, I want to thank you so much for being on the show today. I've enjoyed it tremendously.
Me too.
And how can our listeners connect with you online?
So obviously our website, Local Interactive. On social, I'm at DennisVentura.com or at Dennis Ventura on all social medias. So
LinkedIn, Twitter.
LinkedIn, everything, just D at the beginning and then Dennis Ventura. And a lot of what I do is really just try to help clients understand how to use technology to grow their business at whatever level they're at. So anybody got a question, feel free. I'm happy to help them and point them in the right direction.
Well, that's fantastic. Thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure having you here.
Absolutely. I had a blast.
All right. You have a great day.
You too. Take care.